Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning back in. Glad you can make it. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day. So, today we're talking about who MLMs target. And there's quite a big list, actually. And some things you guys might not be aware of. So, we're going to start with the most obvious. Um, they will definitely target the most vulnerable of people. And what are the most vulnerable of people? Well, um, definitely college kids. College kids are pretty much their prime target. As we all know, college kids can be very naive because they're young, not because they're dumb or stupid, but just because they're younger, they don't know. Um, as someone who was very recently in college, I saw how naive these college kids can be. I mean, some of these kids will just believe anything just because they don't really know any better. Um, and partly because they're not taught any better, obviously because they're not around their parents, and so that's that's what really sets them up to be very vulnerable targets. Is because they're away from their family. Some kids that I was going to school with, um, their family, their home was out of state. Some of them were driving 3, 4, 5, 6 hours even, just to come to school. uh, and I thought that was insane. But you know, these MLMs, they take advantage of that. So uh, parents, absolutely make sure you are keeping a close eye on your kid. Keep a close eye on your kid and educate them about the dangers of multi-level marketing schemes. Um, I've seen a lot of them target college kids. A lot of them. Matter of fact, that is the tip top of of what they do hit. Um, I saw quite a few of it during my time, roped in. So just make sure you're very aware of what's going on in your kid's life at school. So um, that being said, keep them close. Um, they also go after women. Uh, as we all know, women have a natural tendency to and follow trends. And so a lot of the times women fall for these beauty products, that they happen to see working well for, one of their friends. Um, and they also happen to fall for, the independence idea. Um, and so, it's, it, and it's not just women who aren't in relationships or single. It's also women who are in relationships as well. um they present themselves in a way that convince a lot of women to get into MLMs. um and so a lot of the times they do appeal to emotion, and we know that women are uh very subject to emotion. Not that they have, high or low emotional intelligence, which we all know that a lot of women today, most women today actually, have very low emotional intelligence. But um, the fact that they are emotional themselves is also what MLMs target specifically. Um, but so, ladies, make sure you're being very careful and learn to manage your emotions. Okay, learn to manage your emotions. Um, a lot of you may think you know how to, right? But in situations, prove you wrong. Um, I'm not painting, everybody with a broad brush. Um, but in my experience and the research that I have done, um, absolutely, um, ladies, you've got to learn to control your emotions, and you have to learn to manage them, and you also have to learn to protect them. So so you don't become a vulnerable target for, these multi-level marketing schemes. Um, and Not just that, but research. Absolutely. Um, Research every chance that you get, and always ask questions. Always ask questions. Don't just take people at face value. Um, that's another kind of person that they do target, is someone who um, is just looking for opportunities, and just take people at face value. So, but Ladies, don't succumb to emotion. Okay, make sure you control your emotions. Make sure that you can um, manage them in a way that they're not manipulated. All right, so um, have don't go somewhere by yourself either, right? Um, a lot of the times they'll go to coffee shops, places like Starbucks. They'll go to uh, typically quite a few places where there are a lot of women around. For the female recruiters, they know what they're doing. Okay, so make sure that you are very, very astute when it comes to your research, um, and make sure that um, you have someone else there with you, just in case you do happen to lose control of your emotions. Someone can be there to help you out. All right. Um, Now, I typically recommend men around, like maybe a brother or a dad or something like that. Uh, but Typically, the reason I say that is because when it comes to predatorial behavior, if there's someone's around that's going to be able to protect you, right? As we see men to do, then the chances of you being targeted, right, by multi-level marketing schemes is never zero, right? But it is reduced. So make sure that you are out there and uh, have some kind of protection for yourself. So, but if that's not available, then try to bring a few of your girlfriends with you, who also are aware of multi-level marketing scams as well, and who can get your back no matter what. So, that being said, ladies, take care of yourselves, all right? Um, and it doesn't matter if you're a single mom. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or single. A lot of times they will also go after single moms too. Um, College girls, young women who are on their own, and single moms especially is what they go after too. So absolutely make sure you're taking care of yourselves. All right. So that being said, it's time to move on. Um, I mentioned opportunities. People looking and searching for opportunities. Um, and this is for people with more of an entrepreneurial mindset, right? You want to take an opportunity wherever you see one. But this is also why I was telling you to be careful when you see opportunities, right? And really take a step back and look at it objectively to know if this is something that's going to benefit you long term or not. Because what they will do is they will frame it in a way that um, will lie to you, essentially, to convince you that it is better. It's going to be a really good opportunity for you long term. Um, and For those who are maybe just getting into business, or are uneducated, excuse me, about MLMs themselves, such as I was, very new to business, and also, very naive, because of my lack of education, when it came to um, MLMs in general. And so they will definitely take advantage of that naivete, um, and manipulate you in such a way to make them to make you believe that the opportunity that they're giving you is beneficial for you. So, and how they'll go about doing that is they will convince you that the people that go through this are, entrepreneurs. They're business people. They own their own website. They're going somewhere. They're working on being financially independent. They're not quitters, right? And so they'll convince you that getting into this thing is the only path to financial freedom. That's one of the main things that they love to use is um, a second source of income that'll eventually um, lead you to retiring early and being financially free. Right, financially free, financially destitute. It's more like it. Uh, but Yeah, so they will present it to you as an opportunity. That's why I'm using the word opportunity specifically. Um, so don't get roped in if you happen to hear anything about that. Sometimes they'll approach you asking you for advice on something about asset development. Uh, that's a big one. Um, talking about running a health and wellness business or sports product business. Um, that's another big one. So, um, a lot of times they'll come to you and they'll talk to you about owning a e-commerce website. And so, make sure you're very careful when talking with someone like that. So, and as I have said, a little bit on this video already, ask questions. Absolutely ask questions. Question every single thing. I did a video about this um, early in the channel's history, but you can find that one and watch it. But question everything. If they tell you something, right? Okay, cool. How did you get there? What'd you do to get there? Um, what is your salary looking like? What is your work day looking like? Um, what's the path forward looking like for you? Ask for receipts, man. They're telling you that they can step away from their full-time job. Okay, how much are you making? You know, how much are you making? So, don't be afraid to ask. And cults will fall apart very quickly. Just at just asking one simple question, right? And so they don't have the receipts. They're it's obvious they're bullshitting. So, um, but looking for an opportunity, yes, um, they will definitely they will definitely target you. And it only takes one conversation. It really does. They're really good at what they do. So, um, the next one is a lot more sinister. I say that because this was me. As someone who really had to take time away from college because of my mental health. Um, I was very, very vulnerable, and they absolutely took advantage of that. Um, that's something I disclosed to them out of you know trust, um, and they absolutely took advantage of that, and it's easy to, right? Because when you are in the situation that I was, you're looking for someone to relate to. You're looking for some help, right? And when you're in that situation, obviously you're very vulnerable, and they can smell that from a mile away, and they'll tell you all the things that you want to hear, right? Um, then they'll it won't take much for them to, right, get you to trust them. or convince you to trust them. And so that's what happened to me. I trusted them, and they took me to the cleaners. 280, $290, money that I could have used to invest into myself. Um, but it is what it is. Sometimes you make mistakes. It's a good thing that I learned early, and I started doing my research early, and I didn't lose any more money. So I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. You make mistakes, you move on from it, right? So um, the elderly, they take advantage of, for sure. Um, the elderly, sometimes they don't have their family around, and as unfortunate and sad as it may be, a lot of them are in the same situation as someone with um, declining mental health, and so um, a lot of times the elderly fall prey to it too, because a lot of the elderly don't really know a whole lot about MLMs at all, right? Because the exposure of these organizations have really only started to come up, within the past 5 to 10 years, and so and still at that, there's not really a whole lot of coverage about it. So it only stands to reason why a lot of elderly people don't really know a whole lot about it. And when you have uh, the situation that we find ourselves in today with the elderly, um, it makes sense why so many of them are falling prey. Uh, these guys, they just want to enjoy the rest of their lives. Unfortunately, their pensions aren't keeping up with the economy anymore. 401ks are essentially nothing. Uh, and a lot of elderlies, or excuse me, a lot of elderly people are having to go back to work, which is absolutely fucking shit. Um, and that's just to survive. And a lot of them are trying to find avenues to not have to go back to work, and they end up falling prey to this, right? So um guys, make sure you're looking after your parents or your grandparents. Don't let them get caught up in this shit. As soon as I found out that I was being scammed, I called my grandmother, because my grandmother used to use Amway products. And I told her, I was like, "Hey, look, you got to watch out for these guys." And um, was it an embarrassing phone call? Yes, of course it was. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure my grandparents are good, right? And I want to make sure you guys are good and taken care of, and make sure you guys are protecting yourself, against these predators. So, um, um, so look after your parents, or look after your grandparents. Um, I think going back to the entrepreneurial people, and it's not just people who are aspiring to own their own business or whatnot. It's also people who have had or currently have a business. um so it can really be anybody. It can be someone who owns a hair salon. Oh, one of my uplines was had a hair salon. um and um someone else I knew had a gutter cleaning business, right? There are other people who had their own businesses as well, and they get taken advantage of just as much. So um it's not it's not just naive people, or ignorant, or dumb or stupid people. It's not necessarily these kinds of people that end up getting taken advantage of. It's anybody, right? It can be your coworker, it could be your boss. A lot of the times when they do get recruited, your coworker comes to you and offers you maybe an energy drink, or offers you some protein shakes, or offers you um, some uh, maybe some twist tubes of joint health or whatnot, and it could be anybody really, anywhere, anyone. So, and they will target just vulnerable people, and the kinds of people that I have already talked about. And because of the economy that we find ourselves in today, absolute fucking shit, a storm drain. More and more people are becoming vulnerable, right? As more and more people are living from paycheck to paycheck, um, it's prime. It's prime with opportunity for these MLMs. And so, um, the MLM that I was recruited into was Amway. And as someone who was looking for an opportunity, vulnerable because of my mental health, and already had an entrepreneurial mindset because um, I was already working with metal and wood, to make the um, uh, uh, make the crafts that I was already working on, like this right here. Um, I was already vulnerable, right, because of my mental health and because of my lack of knowledge when it came to MLMs. And so, a brief history. Um, the owners of Amway, Vaughn, whatever his name is, and Duvos, um, they were distributors for Neutralite, and they figured that they could do the same thing that they were doing with Neutralite, but make their own money off of it. And that's exactly what they did. But instead of doing the same thing that they were doing in Neutralite, they decided to um, then uh, take um, take their inventory and then sell it to their downline, right? Um, Downline being pretty much that you were people that you recruited, and upline is people who recruited you. And so that's how Amway really made a lot of their money, was that they were having their downlines buy their products. That's why it's a pyramid scheme, because when you buy their products, they and only they get the money, right? And then what they do is they invest into more products, um, so that you can turn around and sell, or try to, because the markup is so astronomically expensive that no one is going to be willing to pay for it, and so the only one that's actually paying for the product is you. um, and they've used that model for a long time now, since the early 60s. And they've definitely kept hush hush, because they were lobbying for you know politicians to scratch their backs. And a lot of the landmark cases, one specifically with Amway, that had pretty much straight up said that Amway isn't considered an MLM. So, which I think is hilarious. Uh, but that's where lobbying gets you, and that's what happens when you can pay off a few politicians. So, um, that being said, Amway has been operating for a long time. So long, matter of fact, that most, if not every single MLM is models themselves after Amway. And so the only one that hasn't been Well, I mean, there have been quite a few that have been sued into oblivion, which is great, right? We want to get rid of all of these MLMs, but you know, I got to keep it the fight. Got to keep it the fight. But I was recruited into Amway. They, the way that they made it seem was so convincing, so compelling that I bought it. And I had no information on MLMs at all. Um, I wasn't educated at all, and so I fell to it. And um, being as vulnerable as I was, with walking away from my family and having to walk away from friends too. Um, I didn't have anybody around me, and I did want someone to trust, someone to lean on, and you know, um, that's how they took advantage of me. So, um, make sure, guys, that you are protecting yourself. Okay. Um, I've got a few other videos out there, or excuse me, I've got a few other videos on this channel that you can check out. So make sure you're doing that. Kind of get a good idea of the tactics that they use. So hopefully, I can touch on as many tactics as many tactics as possible. And so, if you guys happen to have anything that you would like to share, please do absolutely, and share this as much as possible, please. There are people out there that really need this message. Um, I see. I'm very active on Reddit, the anti MLM page on Reddit, and I see people all the time asking, what an MLM is, and asking, if this opportunity that they're taking is an MLM. So um, make sure that you are sharing this, on Reddit. Make sure that you are sharing this with your friends, your family, and just educate them. Okay. Protect yourselves and protect others. Okay. So it's the whole point of this channel. Because it's not just a men's channel anymore. Um, it was supposed to be. Now the main focus is men, of course, but there is a new fight now, and that is against MLMs. Because not only does it affect everybody, but if it also affects men too. So, you know, but hopefully I can draw you guys in. Hopefully I can bring you guys together. And we stand up against this shit because this needs to end. This is ruining, destroying people's lives. It's ruining relationships. It's ruining marriages. It's absolutely attacking the most vulnerable society. Um, it's just pathetic. It really is. It's so sickening. Um, it's absolutely it really pisses me off just sitting here talking about it. So, um, but absolutely yes. Take care of yourselves, please, both mind and body. I think that's just gonna wrap it up today. So, like I said, guys, if you happen to have anything on your mind, please let me know. What are your experiences? And if you happen to have any nuggets of knowledge that you can drop on us, any words of encouragement or information that you can give us to really help protect ourselves against MLMs, please do so. Um, but don't just take care of yourselves, take care of each other too. Okay. If like I was saying, if you see someone that um, is being actively targeted by an MLM or excuse me, an MLM recruiter, please confront them. Please confront them. Okay. Talk to them. And if they don't even know what's going on, explain to them what's going on. Okay. We want to protect people. Now, don't just confront people just to confront people. Confront people with good intention. Okay. Um, there's a bigger YouTuber named Always Marco that is a really big voice, um, and hopefully he will watch this video one day. Because I would like to talk with him and get I would like to get an interview with him, kind of share my story or um, you know uh, uh, definitely get his help in spreading this message. So guys, um, please protect yourselves and others. Okay, please. Um, the biggest fight is mentality. That is the biggest fight. Of course, yes, get active, physically active, go get in the gym, go get fit. Yes, but make sure you're also fit in the mind. So, because the most damaging thing that can happen to you is if you're attacked mentally and you're not prepared for it. So, make sure you're prepared for it. All right, guys. That being said, uh, if this video helped you out, guys, please like, share, subscribe. I already talked about sharing, but YouTube algorithm really cares about sharing and liking. Yes, subscribing, of course, but um, more people are going to see this video if you are more engaged with the video itself. So that's why I ask you to share and like and comment and all that stuff, because YouTube really cares about that. Um, Now, of course, I really want to hear what you have to say because I do read the comments and I respond to the comments. Um, but that's also something that YouTube really cares about, and I want this message to reach as many people as possible, right? So, especially men. Uh, that being said, guys, again, thanks for watching, guys. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves and take care of each other too. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.